Blessings, Levi family. Blessings. We're doing a different type of live tonight. Y'all know I'm rebranding, doing what I gotta do. Check out the logo, guys. Miss Grace Levi in the building. This is a double print. Okay. So I want to say blessings and good day to the Levi family and anyone who pops up on this chat tonight. We have some good stuff to talk about, a little bit of controversy. And I'm going to keep it quaint. We're going to start off by watching a few TikTok videos of the diaspora war. Every so often, excuse me, y'all, we have issues in the black community, in the Caribbean community, where it starts this storyline of divisiveness. So I definitely wanted to get in on the conversation because I do believe a lot of people need to be educated. And it's on both sides. My people who call themselves Black Americans, what is it, B1 or FBA, and also my Korean people. All right. So if y'all don't know who I am, I'm Grace Levi. Y'all could call me Miss Levi or Grace. As y'all know that I am a mixture of Haitian and Barbadian. I was born in America. Yes, yes, yes. Raised in Newark amongst Judah because I know the history, so I know who I was raised upon. I was raised with Judah as a, basically Americanized, and still growing up with my Haitian values in my Haitian house and Caribbean values in my, I'm sorry, Barbadian values in my Barbadian side of the family. So I have a very diverse set of knowledge, as well as I'm pretty well read. I love to read. I love to research. So before I go and talk out of my emotions, I usually talk from facts. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna watch what's going on TikTok, because not only do I think that this has to stop the divisiveness, but this is a calculated setup to keep us separated. Okay, let's go. Let's watch my beautiful Judah princess right here.
I think this video is a good example of how a lot of these diaspora wars really are. They're really not diaspora wars between like groups of people, like a lot of people just going at each other. They're really just one on one.
Thank you.
They're one versus one. One person said something inflammatory, and another person, rather than just adding that person or tagging that one individual, decides to just refer to the group the individual happens to be a part of in general. They just, African said, African American said, resulting in the entire collective responding because they were addressed and being like, what are you talking about? Being just hostile because they're like, why am I even involved? And then it becomes like this whole little mini thing
Mm-hmm.
that really started from nothing, that started from somebody not just adding the individual who said the thing. Like,
So,
why are we stirring the pot? The pot is empty.
yeah, thank you. The pot is empty. So I wanted to start off with our sister right here, and I respect what she's saying because it's usually one or a few people that says something, and then you have either Black America running with it and saying all Caribbeans are this, or you have Caribbeans running with it saying all Black Americans are this. But I will highlight some stuff that's very important. This comment right here, this is what I noticed from my family, Judah. It says, then she's Canadian. Like, what do you actually know about AA besides our people culture through media? That will make you think we actually say that. Okay, so I had to read that with conviction. I got jokes because that's what happens all the time. Okay, usually what I notice when it comes from, I can say Judah, there is this storyline like, hey, you from another place, go back to your country. You don't know what you're talking about. You are a foreigner. Now, what really stands out to me is crazy because when Judah say things like that, you literally sound like your colonizers or our colonizers who has colonized all lands that originally start with black, brown people. Okay, so it's so weird that y'all say that, and We're going to talk about this in more detail as I did the other day. But the 14th Amendment actually gave you citizenship in America, birthrights. Do you understand that? So that means that you're actually a immigrant or a migrant of America, but you were forced. We're going to get into that a little bit later. I don't want to like overwhelm y'all right at the beginning, but I'm going to throw some concepts out there that I really think that Black America needs to research, as well as some concepts that my Caribbean people need to research because they don't know their history either. Everybody over here talking shit like they know something and they don't. Let's go. So here we go. We got a guy say Black American versus Caribbeans.
Socially, and they gain benefits and rights in said country socially, go outside your country, right? Go to other countries and import people that look like them. But before you do that, the rights that those people fought for, you extend that to civil rights. So it applies to all people, nationwide. And before you import those that look like
Okay, let's stop right. Let's pause. Let's pause. Let's pause. Hold on. We're going to have to pause because he's starting off real hot, but I don't know if he knows history. He says that basically the foreigners who came here, which is Caribbean people, we extend the black rights to civil rights, which is not true. It's literally your representative who was here fighting extended it to civil rights. We're going to go into that a little bit, but last week I did a video about the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment, and also how we were written into the Constitution and how the fight for Black America or anybody who is Black in America right is continued to be fight every day. It's fought every day with new cases because they're still trying to define how to deal with you, to deal with us. Okay, I'm saying you, us, because we are the same. I'm don't worry. Levi, you know what we do here. My Levi family, you know we want school so we could all get on the same page. So the case law he's talking about that turned to civil under the civil guidelines was actually fought by a lot of black people who were descendants of slaves in America. So they actually pushed that term of civil rights right after the 14th Amendment, like I basically piggyback off the 14th Amendment to gain rights. Because even after the 14th Amendment was made, or how can I say no, the Constitution, let's start there. When the Constitution was made, we were still enslaved. Black America was still enslaved, but Haiti, my people, we got out from under the French. Now, I know when you hear that, you get mad, but don't worry, we wasn't doing too good, but we were still fighting. Okay, but Black America was still enslaved under the Constitution. I mean, yeah, when the Constitution was put together. So, how do you claim rights to something where you were enslaved at the time that it was written? That's why you shouldn't celebrate the 4th of July. Okay, that's why you got Juneteenth, because it took more fighting to actually get all the black slaves free. Okay, let's talk about a little history. So, after the Constitution was made and the 14th Amendment was put out there to basically incorporate the black slaves into a system so you can be part of basically a chattel system. And now that chattel system involves all nations. They use that to basically find ways to define how America was going to interact with you, okay? With us, because we all became the same people. So just understand the cases he's talking about, that was civil. It was black Americans that was fighting that. So obviously he doesn't know law and why these cases kept being fought. It was because you didn't have rights under the 14th Amendment. You were still suffering segregation. You was suffering under the Jim Crow laws. So you understand? So we're going to move on a little bit because I want you guys to understand a little bit of law so we could get into a little bit of nationality, and then maybe I could get into a little bit of genetics with my Black American people and Caribbean people, because this is some of the stuff I have to talk to my people, Haitian people, Barbadian people. They don't know who they are either. They straight lost. And you guys are the tribes. You are God's chosen people. We are God's chosen people. But you don't understand how. And as long as you separate yourself from all of the other tribes who were sold across the world, you're going to continue to be cursed under Deuteronomy. Let's go. Let's play this.
that those people like them are lazy, they're drug addicts, they're dangerous, and stay away from them. Then they pass it on to their people back home. And while they passing that on, continue to oppress those people that gain rights. Continue to lock the men up. Continue killing the economy, which is the father and support of the two-parent household of said marginalized community. Continue doing that in the community, right, to where the women need help financially with the kids, and create a program that allow the mother and the kids to receive financial benefits to eat and uphold the household while the father is not there. And the next step is very important, right? The next step is very
So
important.
he's talking about the systematic destruction of Black American slaves after they came out of, how can I say, the Jim Crow era. Because during the Jim Crow era, when Black Americans were separated, you had a pretty strong family value, despite what the slave masters tried to do, which is to sell slaves, separate them, and create division amongst the family lineage. You guys were had a high rate of marriage in America. Even if it was against the law, y'all fought for marriage. And then they put systems in place so it can help break down our actual value systems that Black America had. And it's the same thing with us as Caribbean people. Listen very close, because we're all skating on thin ice when it comes to value and culture. Okay? So I will say this. I think it's a misconception where Black people call their lifestyle culture. Ooh, that hurt, that hurt, that hurt. Culture is not based on just your style, how you walk, how you talk, how you dress. Culture comes with values, set social norms that reflects positive, not just negative for the culture. As well, it is set in standards and guidelines that are passed down from generation to generation. Okay, so it can go both ways, positive or negative, when it comes to what I was just talking about, the culture value and what you pass down. So what really kills me, and really, like, I'm gonna have to say it, Black people feel a way. The people who call themselves Black, which is the American slaves, feel a way because what you call culture, Caribbean people don't accept as culture. I grew up in Newark, New Jersey. I grew up with my best friends being Black American. I was able to learn, a lot about their value system, and how they stuck together. The holidays that they celebrated, how they celebrated, which was probably a little bit different from us. But what I saw over the time, it was that it was a great disintegration of the family values, and that's what he's talking about. And that was started off from a systematic approach to divide the man and woman, right after the traumatic event that Black America went through in slavery. But with that being said, with the storyline being repeated over and over, what they did, how they set up the welfare system, and how they try to separate the man from the woman. Since you know that, it has shaped and molded what's going on in our Black society, that's something that needs to be addressed and not just always talked about. We know what happened, but how is it being fixed? Because those same situations actually mold our culture now in our community. And this is why we have, and I'm not going to say a lot of Black men, because we have some good Black men, But we have enough black men represented in the forefront, which is on the internet, that are comfortable with the divisiveness between woman and man, that's comfortable with walking away from household, having multiple households, and not taking care of their kids or raising the kid. Because you don't have to just financially take care of a kid, you have to raise the child so the child can be mentally stable and not have abandonment issues. And I think that's what a lot of us are dealing with in the black community. That's in the Caribbean household and black American abandonment issues. So it comes out with lashing and treating each other wrong. Okay, so we really got to highlight what culture is. Okay, now what I will say is that, okay, what I what it seems to me that black people call a culture is their style, music, which is rap, R&B, and what else? Y'all gotta let me know. And I'm not being funny because you throw this culture word out there, but the culture is supposed to be something that's uplifting the nation. And rap and the R&B is not uplifting the nation at all. It's literally disintegrating our people. It's literally programming our people, our women to be ratchet and our men to be feminine. So is that the culture that you're representing? Highlighting that we know the music industry is not ran by black people. So why would you claim rap music and this type of music as your culture when it was shaped and molded by people who are actually using your title? But we're going to leave that alone. You know who owns the music industry. They literally took your identity, and now they have you on a soapbox dancing and putting on a minstrel show. So we have to evaluate what is actually black culture. So if you know what black culture is, put it down there in the description for me so I could be educated. Now, as far as Caribbean people, what we call culture. Now, I would say I have to talk from my perspective as a Haitian. Our culture has been greatly disintegrated as far as the things that we have went through, fighting for our country, our land, getting a lot of our natural resources taken, as well as having to pay the French for our freedom after we beat them, which was the stupidest thing ever. Also, because we had a foundation of who we were as far as being connected to the South African diaspora, and that's something I'm going to explain to Black America. We practice really different when it came to our religious aspect. Now, I'm talking from a Haitian perspective, and our culture was disintegrated and flipped on its head because of our decisions, too. Not only did we start to self-sacrifice because we got so desperate as black as Haitian people, we did practice what Yahweh, the God of the Bible, said not to. And that is black magic. That is voodoo. Now, y'all, if y'all got to know Grace Lee, y'all already know. I went through my cleansing, my rebuking, my repenting for my family and what they did, and I'm still doing it to this day, teaching a new way, teaching what we supposed to teach as Levites. But that was part of our culture. But the difference between me and a lot of other people, I'll keep it real and say, what's the problem? What happened? Why we're doing wrong? And why our culture is not right either. But one thing I will say, as Haitians, we will get up and we will fight for justice. Okay? So I wanted to throw that out there because I know I'm going to have my Black Judah family like, oh, all she's doing is getting on black people, getting on black people. No, I'm getting on everybody because we all have to make a change spiritually, mentally, and socially. Because according to Revelations, it's not going to be a lot of us that make it. So it really don't matter your color or who you think you are. It's literally what's in your heart and the role that you play at the end of the book. Because us as blacks that call ourselves blacks, the descendants of slaves, if you read the first whole half of the Bible, we literally cursed ourselves. We cursed ourselves with the behaviors that I'm seeing right now. That's why I tell Black America, you have to go read the Bible, the first part of the Bible. Because when you read the first part of the Bible, you're going to see yourself in it. You're going to see your behaviors. You're going to see our ancestors misbehave and do things that are totally ungodly, ratchet, just like today. There was even a king. It was King David's son who literally tried to take over his throne and slept with his wives on top of their house, like on top of a building. This is in the Bible, but people don't know this because they don't read it. Literally, defiling behaviors that is connected to us. And because us as brown melanated people can't see ourselves in the Bible, we can't see where we made a mistake. So a lot of things that God has condemned us for, we're still doing it right now, especially the divisiveness. So I'm just showing this right now, right here, because I'm going to just keep talking to you guys real quick. But this is what I have to say to my my Caribbean people and my Black American people. If you don't know, you have to do your research. You have to read the Bible as well as go get your ancestry test done. Figure out where your DNA is traced from. And I will promise you, Black Americans from America, that you're not from America, Black Americans here, and the Caribbean people that's in Haiti, Barbados, Trinidad, different diasporas, your genetic codon is going to say E1, B1A, and it's going to trace back to areas like South Africa, West Africa, a little bit in Canaan, which is now known Israel, just a little bit, not recent Israel, but old biblical Israel. The new Israel, they can't even take DNA tests because they don't want to be exposed. Okay, this is so. Before anybody argue with me, if you don't know your genetic codon, if you never got an ancestry test, you can't argue with Caribbean people, or Caribbean people can't argue with Black Americans and say we're not the same when none of y'all don't even know your damn history, especially Black Americans. How do you say you're not part of people and you don't even know where you came from? All you know is, oh, they said we was on a boat. You got to go further back than Western history, because the same people who were on that boat coming here for what for the Western slave trade, we were in the Arab slave trade for 700 years before those boats left Africa. Okay, literally, I think it's 7 captivities that if you go back and do your research, Black America, your bloodline will connect. So before you say who you're not and what people shouldn't say, figure out who you are first. And that's why I keep stressing to my Black Americans, you are Judah. You are Judah. We are I'm Levi. Now let me give you a little bit of biblical teaching real quick. I'm gonna need y'all to go back, and then I'm just gonna get back onto my 3, the stuff that y'all gonna understand, but y'all gonna have to go back because y'all probably not gonna know this. There was a time that the original Hebrews, which were known as Israel at the time, broke. They split up. They split up because they had a different in values, different in beliefs, and Judah went one way, and the rest of the tribes went the other way, which was the tribe, which was known as Israel. So during that time, because of the feud between us, the first camp that went down, which was a majority of the tribes, which was Israel. Israel was taken down by Assyria. You can find this in the Bible and you can find this in history. Israel, the camps of Israel were taken over by Assyria. Shortly after that, Judah was taken over by Babylon. Okay? The Babylonian captivity took place and took you guys. All right? I'm going to stop there because I don't want y'all to get too overwhelmed with history. But I need you to start there So you can realize that you, Judah, are the tribes that was taken after Babylon conquered Jerusalem. Okay? Remember that. Now, back to what I'm saying. Back to what we're saying. How can we, as brown melanated people, separate ourselves when we don't know genetically our history? When you have not did the work, not even really went to talk to your grandparents, great grandparents, to figure out like a little bit about them, a little bit about their grandparents. This is how I figured out who I was. My grandma didn't even know she was Levi until I just started asking her questions. And she said as a little girl, she could remember that it was shops around Haiti that was set up by Igbo merchants. And those were people who knew who they were. My grandma didn't even know. So those people who were merchants who were selling books and selling different things that of high value in Haiti when she was a little kid, they knew their identity, and it was Igbo, and that is connected to us, and that's connected to you, Judah. Now the only reason why I found that out is because I asked my grandmother, and then I started to do the research. Okay. Now, I will say, when it comes to genetic codon and the tracing of lineage, as far as the different lineage, I got a lot of information from one of our Hebrew brothers. I'm going to call him Uncle Ron. I can't say his full name because his full name even got Kyrie Irving in trouble. If you remember, Kyrie Irving said he was a Hebrew. And Kyrie Irving identifies as being a black American because he has read the book and he figured it out. And that's why we're not separate. I need Black America to stop this because they want us to continue to be separate. We have many resources in Haiti right now that we can't even cultivate because we don't have outside creativity, meaning that there's certain things that people from Canada was taught, black Canadians that were slaves, because they were sent to Canada too. You got slaves out there. The Brazilian ones made it to Canada. Okay, we have Black Americans who are very intelligent, who literally hold these white companies up and be used like dogs, but then you won't come to your own, another fully black country to help bring it up because you say you're not like them. They're not you. But white America is not you. And you do it every day. And you fight blood, sweat, and tears to be part of their system. How the fuck does that make sense? How does that make sense? So we have a lot of resources in Haiti. And I do believe once we connect to the right people, the right diaspora, the people who are woken, our brothers and sisters, we'll be able to cultivate that. There's lies and narratives that's put out there about Black Americans and who they are and what they do. But a lot of it is not lies. Yes, you have gangs, you fight. We have issues in Black America. Just like I told you, we have issues in Haiti. Don't deny what the issues is. You have to see what they are and correct them. That's the only way. But Black America have a spirit of Judah. I'm going to call you Judah. When I say Judah, you know I'm talking about Black American. Judah has a spirit of offense. So you pick anything to have offense to go against someone, except for the colonizers. Because even though you talk shit about the colonizers, you still want to be here. You still want to be here with them. When God green earth is the whole earth. Literally other places all over the world that don't have much bloodshed as America, and you still fight for it. Make that make sense. After you know that you were forced here to come on boats, make that make sense. But then you won't go to your surrounding black nations and work together. You want to keep listening to the algorithm and the stereotypes that's put out there by our colonizers who owns Google, YouTube, the internet. What you think is pushed? Not my channel. Not the shit that's gonna wake y'all the hell up and make y'all go research. Divisiveness is pushed. They're not like us, and we did this and we did that. I know when somebody chat and just ate. They couldn't even understand what I was saying. They were so confused when I'm literally talking about genetic coding, DNA, and Deuteronomy, that they start name calling. Black America, you can't do that. That's not what's up. You got to come back with some knowledge because that's not going to work. Because when you get into court, you can't do that. You have to represent yourself with knowledge. And that's another thing. An issue, what happens to Black Americans, Judah, as well as us, and out here, if we don't have representation, when we go to court, we railroaded every single time. Every single time. It doesn't, I don't have to bring up direct stories of people who do the same crime and Black people get life sentences. And our cousins, which is our cousins, Europeans, because if you understand the bloodlines from Shem, Ham, and Japheth, Shem, Esau, and Jacob, Esau went into Europe. Esau was with the Horites. Esau and Jacob are brothers. So that's why white people you call white, some of them are actually our bloodline. But you don't know that because everybody wants to be divisive. That's why I call them my cousins. And the division come because the spirit of Esau, which is mixed within the generations. And if you read the Bible, Esau disappeared within the people, but it's a spirit. And for God hated Esau. It wasn't a particular color. Maybe it represented a nation of people at that time, but it spread it and it mixed. And a lot of my Black American and a Caribbean American have the spirit of Esau. Y'all hate. Y'all divide. You think you're better than somebody after you do nothing. It goes all over. Caribbean, guess what? Caribbean people we're the same way. Because we have looked at Esau, we have looked at America, and we have lost our values. So I can't talk shit because I know what it is. But I really want to talk about this war between nations. It's an internation war that we perpetuate because we let them control the algorithm. We let them control the narrative. We are not educated. We just listen to one word, one sentence, and run with it instead of doing research, instead of reading. How do you divide yourself, Judah, when you don't know your history past the Western slave trade? How? You telling me your people started at the Western slave trade? That's the beginning? No. You are our brothers and sisters. So no matter what stereotype they put in our head, because there are some Caribbean people who come here like, nah, I'm not about to mess with Black Americans because they straight on some BS. You can't be mad because you have ways that are hard to deal with. Just like Caribbean people have ways that's hard to deal with because we are all acculturated different. But we all have to be open to be able to learn from each other and pick what we have in common and then go fight. That's what we do in Haiti. You think that we all like each other? We so loud and obnoxious and yelling all the goddamn time at each other. But when it's time to fight, we fight. Now, I'm going to leave off on this note. I'm going to give y'all a little update on Haiti. Because they lied. They make it seem like Haiti is a shithole country. They put us on a don't travel list. But why the hell are we still traveling? Why can my grandmother just fly in from Haiti less than 6 days ago when they're telling all of you guys that Haitians can't come in here? Huh? See, that's why you have to know people. That's why you have to go expand your horizons and stop scrolling on the internet. and figure out who you are. They say our Haiti's doing so bad, but then I have to tell people, yo, you know we have tourism still going on right now. We have beautiful beaches right now. The it the only place that have issues in Haiti is a place called Port-au-Prince. And I have to give you a heads up. Port-au-Prince is like Port-au-Prince is like a city in LA. Okay? Port-au-Prince is not that big. That's the nation capital. That's not a, do you understand that? It's like a little city. So you would say that America is under siege because LA look like shit right now. New York look like shit. All the other places where the migrants coming in, flooding in. And there was not a lot of black migrants because you know they don't want us. It's flooding in. Ain't fucked up. There's certain places in America that's not suffering right now. So you can't put all the, like everything into one basket. You gotta learn. You gotta open up your mind. They're lying to you. I promise you. My grandma's here. Just a little bit of more extra money and an extra flight. And she's here. American citizen. Also, you gotta remember this. America is not is not a European country. It actually was inhabited by the Native Americans. And we're going to do a little breakdown of who the original American people were. How did they get here? Okay, you got to look into the Mayans and the Aztecs, which were brown people. You got to look into the Mayans and the Aztecs and then start to look into all of the great statues that they built. And you see how they compare it to Egypt. I told you too much in this live. I got to go back, take some notes, and then we'll come back and we're going to crush it a little bit more. We're going to talk about the origins of America and how the same Babylon that took you, Judah, when we were split, those were the same people who came over here way prior to Columbus and colonized this area. I need you guys to wake up. So we're going to continue to have these conversations so we can build nations the way that God wanted it to be. He wants his people to have a nation. He wants his people to be represented. You can't be represented if you keep calling yourself black. Now, why I use the word black is because that's what people are used to using. But I need you guys to remember, black is the color of a crayon. Your skin color is brown. It's full of melanin. So you're not black. Also realize that black is not a land. You cannot be black or consider it your ethnicity when it's not connected to a diaspora. Also, we're going to talk about incoming broadcasts. Will Trump try to amend the 14th Amendment? Get quiet. Everybody get quiet. Would he try to recall the 14th Amendment? He can't do that. He can't do that. He can't take black people's citizenship. Why can't he? What makes you so special? They wrote it in. They wrote you in. And you can be written out. I gave that primary example, how the Dominicans, which is Simeon, took the birthrights of Haitian children who were born over there after the earthquake and after the flood, the first earthquake there's two earthquakes. The first earthquake had few people went over there, a good amount, and then the second one. So what makes America so better when we have a tyrannical government that never gave a fuck about us, especially us. And I say us, because I was born here. Okay? I was raised with my black Judah American. Okay? I'm just a few years later off getting off the boat, my family versus yours. How about that? So when Black America realized that you are migrants that was stolen, you're going to stop arguing with fucking people. You're going to stop arguing because when Trump start talking shit, you're going to need the most educated, brown melanated people to get together to fight. There's a lot of smart brown melanated people here in America, but you have to remember, we have Freemasonry here. We have the Boule. We have the Phi Chi Alpha Phi. That's who running y'all. That's who they chose to be the black elite, the ones that they can pay off. So how do you know who's really going to fight for you? Like how Harriet Tubman did. We haven't had a black leader that fight like Harriet Tubman since Martin Luther King. No, I meant to say Malcolm X, because Martin Luther King woke up a little bit later when he said, oh my God, that I incorporate my black people into a burning house. The fucking house is burning. I'm gonna need y'all to wake up. So I love you guys. Thank you for checking out Grace Levi. You know what we doing here. We rebranding a little bit. It was late night. I was like, yo, we gotta do this. I want to say thank you for being here with me. I love you guys. Get this work. Next time, I'll be in the comment. This time, I just gotta put in the work real quick, okay? I'm gonna need y'all to research everything I said or research before you guys make a comment if you don't know what I'm talking about. At least know what I'm talking about before you make a comment, because I don't want to deal with name calling, and because that really don't do shit. I'm gonna tell y'all now. I'm a content creator that I've been called everything under the sun, and I grew up with Haitian people. We rough as hell. So no name calling you can do can sway a conversation over here. I'm gonna need logic, I'm gonna need facts, and I'm gonna need you guys to add on to the conversation so we can unite. Because when shit hit the fan, we gonna all need a motherfucking place to go. Okay? Because Esau has put his hand on all of God's people. Don't get it messed up. Love you guys and have a great night.